Who is on the road to Bethlehem in twilight? Who is this young woman traveling towards the dark night? 'Tis the Virgin Mary. Joseph watches over. They are seeking shelter from the cold of winter. This the Virgin Mary, Joseph watches over. They are seeking shelter from the cold of winter. Will we welcome Christ who meets us in each stranger? Will we offer food and refuge from night's danger? May our arms embrace all those who beg for mercy. Thus shall we show honor to the Holy Family. May our arms embrace all those who beg for mercy. Thus shall we show honor to the Holy Family. Slava Isus Christu, Slava Navika, glory be to Jesus Christ, glory be forever. This is Father Basil Malovany, and I'm doing another podcast today. And we're just a few days from the great feast of the Nativity of Jesus Christ, Christmas. And, I started these podcasts in October. Halloween was my first one, I believe. And, the season of Polypica is among us right now, of St. Philip's Fast, as we prepare for this beautiful nativity of Jesus Christ. And I wonder, how many of us have really, with all the different things going on in the world, with all the COVID scares and all there's so many things happening. How many of us have really, really, truly, spiritually prepared for this Christmas season? Wintertime, here where we live in Canada, in Saskatchewan, it's cold. There's no other way to describe it. There's lots of snow, it's windy, it's cold, there's lots of ice on the roads, it's sometimes very dangerous to drive. But yet, during this time, we find that, joy. We find that reconnection with one another when the Christmas season comes, no matter what is happening around us, every year there's always things happening. There's, unfortunately, in the world, there's wars, there's disease, there's going to be death. Maybe someone close to us has gotten sick and maybe even died. But through all those things that are happening around us, this Christmas season is always going to be there. Okay? And what we take out of this feast of the Nativity of Christ, of Christmas, can definitely help us through our day-to-day lives. Obviously, many people, one of the big events of Christmas for many people is to visit family, to visit one another. And during this COVID time, depending on what other restrictions we might get in the next few days or weeks because of the new variant coming around, Omicron, that might not be possible. We don't know. There was restrictions, I believe, last year when we could only have certain amount of people in a household, and it put a big damper on the Christmas season. It put a big damper on what we are expecting Christmas to be. That, as I said, it's kind of Christmas, or any holiday really that we celebrate, is kind of it's kind of a relaxed time where we don't have to worry about our work for that particular day, or for a couple of days if we have some days off. We don't have to worry about many of the issues that are surrounding us in our lives. We relax, we spend time with family and friends. Hopefully we go to church, and we reflect upon the joy that Jesus has given to us from his birth in this world. But again, not everyone finds the same joy. Not everyone's going to be as happy maybe as we are. And definitely, during this COVID time, we have to put some thought into that. When we deal with when we interact with people today, in this today's world, we can't expect everyone to have the same feelings that we have. COVID has, affected a lot of people in their lives today. It has affected many people negatively, whether they've lost a loved one, whether they got sick with COVID themselves, whether they've lost financial security or their business because of COVID. COVID has definitely affected a lot of people. And, I think if we go back in time, in history, right to the very event of the Nativity of Jesus, of Christmas, people, even during that time, during the time when Jesus was born, at the time of the Roman Empire, many people were miserable in their lives. They were ruled by a very, very violent. They lived in a very violent society. Where the Roman governments were corrupt. Soldiers marched to the areas and would persecute people, would arrest people, would be causing a lot of grief to those people at that time. And so Jesus entered into that world, kind of this, there's similarities in the world that he entered into what we think we are dealing with COVID, with the pain that we have suffered in the last couple of years. We're not able to do everything we thought we wanted to because of the restrictions. And plus, some people might say that the restrictions are too much, and other people say, well, they're not enough. There's a lot of division, in our society today, unfortunately, because of this COVID. Just like there was much division in Jesus's time as well. That division of some of the Jewish people, expecting the Messiah to come, and many of them expecting that Messiah to be a political leader, a leader to help the Jewish people overthrow the Romans and to become their own political country again. And of course, we know that that's not the reason Jesus was born. He was not born to become a political king or a political ruler. He was born, of course, to give us that opportunity to be with God forever through the forgiveness of our sins, through his sacrifice on the cross. So we know about that, right? So going back to this, our preparation time for Christmas, because of this COVID pandemic, or endemic now they call it, whatever they call it now, many of us maybe have not really put the spiritual effort that we may have otherwise if there was no COVID, because we are so distracted by the news every day. We're so distracted by the case numbers, so distracted by many, many things that, prevent us from preparing spiritually for this great event that is going to happen in a few days. This, the Christmas, that historical event that happened, and also the spiritual event that, I said in my homily this morning that this event that happened for us is world changing, Jesus coming to the world, Son of God, God eternal, and we say in Ukrainian, "Znamy Bog," God is with us, and same with the word Emmanuel, which many of you might not know. Emmanuel is one of my middle names, and God with us. The Jewish people were waiting for the Messiah for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, to come and to bring them that hope, to bring them that joy that they might not have had through all their centuries of living under persecution, of living with wars, and we're living with a lot of different negative things that happen in their life. But we today, Christians, we have some negative events that are happening around us too. Hopefully we in Canada think it's as bad as living under the Roman Empire at that time. As I said, it was not an easy time to live, but we have our obstacles. Many of us have our obstacles to overcome in our day-to-day lives. I'm not saying that we don't have our obstacles, but at the same time, again, we have to really, really have that hope, have that faith that every time we celebrate this Christmas event, every time we celebrate the Nativity of Jesus Christ, we are saying to God that we are so joyful, we are so glad that He finally came to be with us, finally came to be in this world, to help us overcome our negativity, to help us overcome the divisions that are dividing us, even today. as I mentioned earlier, the divisions that are caused by COVID, you just have to research on the web, and sometimes it's not a really good idea, depending what sites you go on, and how many different opinions there are about vaccines, about masking, about distancing, about this and that. There's so many arguments one way or another, and those disagreements, those divisions, unfortunately, caused by the devil. And it's not like we can always agree on every single aspect of our lives with other people, but I've seen this reading the different websites and reading different comments that people have made. They are not very Christian. They are just not being Christian, whatever side that you're on this issue, whatever you believe, you have to still treat one another with Christian love, with Christian forgiveness, with Christian mercy. And unfortunately, it's just not happening right now, It's not happening. And hopefully this Christmas season we can get back to that, practicing our Christianity again the way we're supposed to, And again, how long COVID is going to last with the different variants, we don't know. We don't know how long it's going to last. But as I mentioned many times before, we live in a society that has so much hope. We have so much more than people who lived before us, So the resources of the world, how we share them, with one another, we have that opportunity to do that, and to have, to help those people that need the help during this Christmas season. And I'm just going to end with this story. Of course, we know the Christmas story of Mary and Joseph having to come into Bethlehem for that census, the Roman census, because Joseph was from the lineage of David, and that's where David's city was, Bethlehem. That's why he had to go back there for the census, and how much they were, mistreated, I guess the best way to put it, how the people didn't want to help them with this pregnant Mary. Can you imagine if we would do that today? A pregnant woman and her husband coming to ask for help, and us saying, well, no, we don't have time for you. We don't want to deal with your issue. Deal with it yourself. How would people feel about that today if we didn't offer our resources, didn't offer our hospitality to someone who's in that situation? We would think that person is awful if they didn't help someone in that situation. We would think, why wouldn't you help someone if they're in this desperate need of a room? Why wouldn't you help someone if they're in this desperate need of having to, stay for the night? And Mary, of course, gave birth to Jesus that very night that they came into town. So I think what we have to reflect upon is, during this time of preparation for Christmas, this last few days, how have we shown our Christian values during this time of COVID? And again, I'm not saying it's not a difficult time. It is a very difficult time for all of us in the world, We don't know how much longer this is going to last. We are very uncertain about the future and whether things will ever get back to normal, all those things. But at the same time, are we still showing our Christian values? Are we still showing our commitment, our baptismal commitment to love, to serve one another, to help one another when they are in need? We don't want to be like those innkeepers in Bethlehem at that time who didn't want to give Mary and Joseph a place to stay. We want to be even where they did stay finally. In our Eastern tradition, we say it was a cave where Jesus gave birth, or a cave where the animals were kept. That person who at least gave them that little space, he's blessed because he gave what he could. He gave that shelter, that home for them for that night. And if that's all he could do, at least he did that. Do we do at the very least, when someone comes to us and asks for help, can we do at least that much? Can we give them, that hospitality, that whatever they need for that particular time, And that's something I think we need to really think about today. So, I might do another podcast this around Christmas time, or this the day or so before Christmas. We'll see if my time is for this week. But if I don't, have a wonderful Christmas season and Happy New Year. But I definitely will do another podcast before the New Year, before 2021 is up. So God bless you, and I will talk to you soon.